Evening, everybody. It's Rochelle with another story from the Memoirs of the Redheaded Hairdresser. And tonight I have chosen to tell you a story about the pilot. And for those of you who know me, you know who the pilot is. And for everybody else, he gets to stay anonymous. Okay, so I met the pilot on OkCupid. And he actually came out here, didn't even say the whole, oh, you live so far away thing. Nope. He came out here and we went to the sushi place and we had sushi. And we giggled and laughed and got along really good and just connected. And it was so funny. He looks at me and he goes, you are not what I expected. I said, I know, right? Like, I'm really pretty and not a bitch. And he goes, well, that's not what I was going to say. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And he goes, well, I was going to say it in different words. And we laughed about it. And we just connected really well. I couldn't wait to see him again. Honestly, I hadn't connected with somebody that well in a really long time. And he was a little shorter than I wanted him to be, and his hairline was receded. Honestly, I didn't care. He was so cute, and I don't know, I just really connected with him, and I really liked him. So we talked a lot, and we sent text messages quite often, and our second date was super fun. So it was super cute what he did, though. So I was in Salt Lake and I was picking up concert tickets that I had won off the radio because I love K-Bear. It's my favorite. Everybody accuses me of knowing the disc jockeys because I've won a couple of times, so, but I really don't. Anyways, that's besides the point. Squirrel. Anyways, so I was in Salt Lake and I thought, I wonder if he'll meet me for lunch. So I texted him and I was like, hey, what you doing? And 35 minutes later, he texts me. He's like, nothing. Why? And I was like, oh, I wish you would have texted me earlier. I'm in Salt Lake and I was just, since I'm on this side of the mountain, I figured if you weren't busy, but I'm going to have to head back soon. And he's like, no. Wherever you are, I will be there in 10 minutes. And I guess he cut off quite a few people to get to me. And we ate lunch together. And it was so cute because he stopped and he bought me lunch. And then I'm like, well, aren't you going to order anything? He's like, I already ate lunch. I just wanted to see you. I'm like, oh my God, right? Like, tender feels. I'd never had a guy do that for me before. I was so awesome. So anyways, then our third date, he drove all the way out to get me and then all the way back into Salt Lake and took me to his favorite sushi place. And it was really good. It was really awesome. I loved it. And then next door to this sushi place was I don't know what you'd call it, like a BPOE. And military guys would go hang out there. And it was this really cool little club type thing. And it was down these stairs and they had it all set up like you were on a ship. And they had a table that was set up for soldiers of war kind of a thing. So it was always set for someone who wouldn't come to dinner kind of a thing. It was really cool. And they had this whole thing on it. And it kind of touches you right there when I start talking about military. But anyways, then we went back to the truck and I'm telling you, chemistry was insane, and we're all making out in the parking lot and steaming up the windows of his truck. I feel like I'm in a high school where I'm making out in his truck. But oh My God, like I got home and I was like, oh my God, like I really like this guy. Like, really like this guy. And then our fourth date, it was really cool. I drove into Salt Lake and I met him at Liberty Park. And we went to this really, really awesome restaurant called Hub and Spoke. And we were joking with the waitress and having so much fun. And he ordered this this brunch menu item that had this really funny name. So he looks it up on Urban Dictionary, and oh my God, like it had the worst definition for the name. And he's like, "You guys might want to change the name of this breakfast because it's bad." And we were laughing and we were having such a great time, right? And then we went to an escape room. And I was kind of nervous about this because he was telling me that the escape room. So I missed a date because, yeah, we were talking about it when we were on a date. We were at the Cheesecake Factory. I remember this. And he was telling me, I would be so excited to take you to an escape room. And, oh, I remember this. Yes, there was another date because I was supposed to go see my friends. I'm sorry, totally random. I know, I'm off on left field. There was another date and we had met up. I was supposed to go see some friends, but I kind of like, I left my friends, my girlfriends early, and I made longer time in between going and seeing some of my other friends so I could see him. And we went to Cheesecake Factory and we went to the Clark Planetarium and we threw axes. That was super fun. We threw axes. And yeah, when we were at the Cheesecake Factory, he was telling me that he would love to see me in an escape room. He's like, you really get to see someone's character when you're locked inside a room and you have to figure out how to get out. Like the people you think are going to handle it well are like the ones that are in the corner, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And he's like, I would love to take you to one. So I was super nervous about it because I was like, he's going to be judging me the whole time. Like, what if I mess up? And I was all nervous about it. But we get in this escape room and it's all about figuring out patterns and puzzles and different things, you can figure out how to do those and you can unlock the next clue, which in turn will end up unlocking the doors, kind of a thing. So, oh my God, so much fun. Okay. So, and I just took over. Like, it's just my instinctual need to be in charge. I don't know. I'm the oldest in my family. But I totally took over. And I was like, okay, this is how we do it. And he was just like, he was getting a kick out of watching me, I think, because I had so much fun, right? So we are against this other team, and there was like 7 guys on this team, and it was just me and him on our team. And we got into the main room first before the other team did, and we were figuring out our clues. And towards the end of it, we were down to the very last clue, and I had it figured out, and I heard the other people's door click and unlock. And he's like, oh, I guess they won. And I'm like, no, 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 we are not quitting. And I was like, oh, push this, push that. I'm like, ah, and we got out, and it was so exciting. And then we went to his storage unit and we got out his grandmother's car. And this thing is like 1970s, like a boat car. It's huge, right? Huge car. And it has like this, I think it has like an air ride or something. It was like seriously so comfortable and you couldn't even feel the road. It was crazy. So, and then we went to Top Golf and we had drinks and played a couple rounds. Like hit some balls and play different games on there, and got an appetizer, and then he was like, "Are you hungry again?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I don't really want this date to be over." And I'm like, "I don't want it to be over either." And so he took the car back to the storage unit, and then he's like, I honestly don't want you to leave. I'm like, I don't want to leave either. So since he was renting a room at his buddy's house, we went and got a hotel room over kind of by where his storage units were. And let's just say we took care of that room before, like right after we checked in. Then we left and we went to this really awesome restaurant called Bohemian. And he's like, okay, you get your sexy ass home and go pack your overnight bag and meet me back at the hotel. And I'm like, okay. So I came home, packed my bag, and drove back into the city and stayed the night with him. And he slept in longer than I did. So it's like I wanted to wake up in his arms, but then I was awake and wanting coffee. So I got up and I brewed coffee, and then he woke up to me just kind of like sitting across the room with the sheet wrapped around me. And he's like, hey, beautiful. And I'm like, good morning. And I ran back into the bed and like into his arms, and we snuggled. And I was just like, oh my God, I could fall for this one. I could feel it. I was just like, he was basically everything I was looking for. We got along so good. It was like his soul talked to my soul. If that sounds crazy, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, like there was just something about him. He just meshed with me so well. And then so like we said our goodbyes after we went to breakfast, and we giggle and laugh about so many things. All of our views are right down the same lines, and we were even giggling about a lady on the news looking like Ogra off of the Dark Crystal, and we were laughing. And so then I went home, and he was telling me that for his birthday he was going to Cambodia. So he'd be gone for a little while around his birthday, but he wanted to see me when he got home. And while he was in Cambodia, he's posting pictures of him like being in the pool at the hotel and shooting off of like a rocket launcher from his shoulder, blowing shit up. And he texted me a little bit while he was there. It's like, oh, I'm not sure if I'll have signal. Come on, every place has signal. So, I mean, I guess not every place, but yeah. So, when he got back, like, there was the day that he came out and got me on his Harley. He drove all the way out here on his Harley. And it was crazy because I was working in the yard and he was running behind because he slept in. And it was crazy because my son had actually stepped on a big industrial nail that had worked its way up through the soil after I'd finished my backyard. And so I had to run him to the Instacare. So it ended up being like good for me that he was running behind because I needed to run my son to Instacare. But he got here, he even came in my house and talked to my kid for a minute, and was super cool with him, talking like video games with him. And oh yeah, I like this one and this board and doing this and that. And they're sitting there chit-chatting. And then we got on his Harley, and he took me up the Alpine Loop, and we went to Texas Roadhouse and ate, and I got the cutest pictures of us together, and it was just amazing. And then so we'd been seeing each other for quite some time, and he kept telling me, I can't be in a serious relationship. Like, I'm being shipped off to Afghanistan. I'm going to be gone for a year. So he's in the Apache program. He would fly the Apache over my house. He'd circle over my roof. One time he even circled over my salon, and he came down lower than he was supposed to and circled over my salon 3 times, and just really made me feel special. And so he kept telling me, look, I can't give you what you deserve. I can't give you what you need because I'm not going to be here. Like, I can't be in a committed relationship until after March 2021. And I'm like, okay. But I knew this. Like, he was honest with me. He was telling me this. Well, then, like, there was the day that I was already in Salt Lake. I had hung out with some friends of mine, and he wanted to see me, and I wanted to see him. So we drove to Park City together, and I was in this really cute sundress. And I mean, we were just all over each other driving up there. And we finally had to just pull over. Because, yeah, we were Yeah. So there's a certain building in Park City that every time I pass it now, I think about that parking lot. Like, took me to Park City and we walked through the shops. They do this like Sunday extravaganza thing there. And then we went and ate at this restaurant and he brought me back in and stuff. And we talked about it and I just, he's like, Rochelle, like, I care a lot about you. I just know that you're ready for more and I worry that I'm going to hurt you. And I'm like, well, then don't hurt me. Then he joined the singles group that I was in. And I'm in the singles group, but I didn't really go to a lot of events at that time. I just was in it, just kind of, for those moments when you're bored and chit chat with other single people. But he joined the singles group and then he's telling me, well, yeah, I've gone to a couple of events, but I'm just like making friends, getting out, not being sitting home bored. And I'm like, oh, okay. And started noticing a few things that bothered me. So then next thing I know, I'm hearing that, oh no, he told me that he'd actually been talking to this one girl in the group and he's like, I did take her to dinner, but like no big deal. And I'm like, oh, uh, okay. I mean, I knew that we weren't in a committed relationship. So I guess I kind of appreciated the fact that he told me he went on a date with somebody. Um, because we'd been seeing each other off and on. I mean, there was a time when I didn't talk to him and I actually started talking to a different guy too. But yeah, so we were back together and spending a lot of time together. And he was on the phone with me and had gone out to Wendover with the singles group. And I'm like, why are you going to this Wendover with the singles group? Why didn't you just come see me? He's like, I'm not out here to hook up with anybody. I'm just out here to have fun with the singles group. Like, I'm not looking to hook up with anybody. Like, calm down. I'm like, I almost went out there. And he's like, then come out. Like, I love seeing you. It's fine. You could come out if you want to. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I might. And circumstances just didn't let me get out there. So I'll get to why this is interesting in a second. Okay. So then he gets his private pilot's license. And I see him on the singles page, like, got my license, ready to fly. I can fly anytime I want in a private plane. Who wants to go out and fly in the plane with me? And I wrote him and I'm like, seriously? You're offering in the singles group? And he's like, no, 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 no. I would make them pay. You are free because you are special. I'm like, aw, like a dumbass that I am, I guess. So he took me flying and I got to do the takeoff. And he was like, I'm so excited to watch you in this plane. He goes, I can't wait to see your reaction in this plane. And I did the takeoff and I guess I did a perfect takeoff. He was so acted like he was so impressed and I was just having fun. And then I did the part where I flew us over Provo Canyon and then he took over and flew over like Camas Heber and Jordanelle and that area and then up through the Alpine Loop and then I lined us up for the landing. And that was super fun and I just loved it. It was so fun and we talked all the time. It was just great. I knew about his daughter. I knew about the circumstances with he and his ex-wife. And he had given me little tidbits of information, like he and his wife had dabbled in the swinger lifestyle a little bit. She supposedly left him for that. And that's probably a little TMI, so I won't say any more about that one. But anyways, but here comes the thing, is even in the beginning, we had one mutual friend on our Facebooks, and it was my niece that babysat my kids. She's like my daughter. I love her so much. So I even reached out to her and was like, hey, what about this guy? And she was like, well, I know he just barely got divorced, so he's probably not ready for anything serious, but he really is a great guy. So I thought he was a great guy. But he also did some great things. I went to Liquid Joe's with the singles group one night just because they had a big thing with the Spasmatics, and I love the Spasmatics, so I wanted to go, and he wouldn't go with me. So I went there, and he's like messaging me, and he's like, I really feel like something bad's gonna happen. He's he's like, babe, please tell me you're gonna be safe. Like, when you get home, let me know you're home safe. I'm really worried about you. He goes, I can't quite put my finger on it, but something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. And then while I was at the club, his friend that he's known his whole life, his older brother was his best friend all through school and everything. I meet this guy there, and he's like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And he messages my pilot and tells him, hey, I just met Rochelle, and she's really beautiful, but I don't want to encroach on anything you got going on here. And he's like, Rochelle is absolutely wonderful. She's an absolutely amazing girl, and I care very deeply for her. He said, I stay at her house sometimes. We spend a lot of time together. He's like, but technically, on December 4th, when I leave, we are breaking up. So after that, you should ask her out. She's a great girl. And I'm looking at this guy's phone, reading the pilot's responses, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? He is giving his friend permission to ask me out when he leaves. I'm like, great. After everything we've been through, all these fun dates, he even came to my friend's house on Halloween. I dressed up as Jessica Rabbit, by the way. Nailed it. He showed up in his naked man costume, met all of my friends at that party, and like, we acted like a couple. And I knew he said that he couldn't give me anything serious, so I realized he wasn't committed until like he gets back from Afghanistan. But literally, everything we had been through, I was just sure that like he was my person. He was my person. So anyways, I leave Liquid Joe's and I walk out, and my car's gone. My car is gone. And I'm freaking out. I call him and I'm like, you were right. Something was wrong. My car is gone. My car is gone. He's like, have you reported it stolen? And I'm like, no, I just barely noticed that it was gone. And right then the door guy at Liquid Joe's stopped me, and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, my car's gone. And he's like, where did you park? And I pointed to where I parked. He goes, oh, yeah, you parked in the Harmon's parking lot. You can't park there anymore. And I'm like, I haven't been here in over a year. I didn't know. He's like, how did you didn't see the sign? And I'm like, honestly, my friends were so excited that I got out that night that when I walked in, everyone was hugging me. I didn't read any signs. And he's like, oh, yeah, it got towed. He's like, this is the number you call. And so I'm still on the phone with the pilot, and he's like, I'll be there to get you. And he lived like across town. And it took him like a bit to get there. It took him like over a half an hour to get there. And he came and got me. Like, this is like after 1:30 in the morning at this point. And we get to where my car is. And he takes me there. He offers to pay. He's like, babe, he's like, I don't want you to be like in a financial burden. I mean, because this was before Thanksgiving. This was right before Thanksgiving. He's like, I don't want you to have a financial burden before the holidays. Sweetheart, if you need me to pay it, I will pay it. And I just looked at him, and he's like, what? And I'm like, I love you. And he goes, I love you too. And I just hugged him, and we kissed, and like, I was head over heels in love with him. And The next morning, I had a pretty rough day with my kid. And he called me to check on me, and I was trying so hard not to let him know something was wrong. And he's like, baby, what's wrong? And I told him everything that happened, and he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm so sorry. I wish I could have done more. He's like, there's so much advice I could have given your kid if I would have just talked to him more. I'm so sorry. He's like, you did the right thing. You're doing the right thing. You're a good mom. And he was just so sweet with me. And then, like, Christmas comes around, right? Christmas comes, and he comes to see me, and he brings me this wine glass with a shark in it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's unique. I like wine. And I had gotten him the coolest present ever. I got him a coffee mug. He says, thanks for all the orgasms. And he's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever had. This is the coolest. I'm going to take this with me to Afghanistan. Like, this is the coolest. And we had talked quite a while back because, you know, he did that whole, like, not ready for a commitment because I'm going to be going to Afghanistan, la, 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 la. And I'm like, well, look. And he was like, basically, I just need someone I care about that can basically be, for lack of better words, a friend with benefits. And I'm like, well, if you're going to be in something like that, it better well be me because we've already been there anyway. And I care about you and I trust you. And he's like, okay. So we had this agreement, right? Like, he's not to be doing anything with anybody else because I don't share. Like, I understood we weren't committed, but at the same time, I don't share. And I made that very clear. So we'd gone to Park City after Christmas. Or wait, no, because it was before Christmas because he left December 4th for Fort Rucker. So it was before that, but it was Christmas presents. We were in Park City. We went to Park City together, and he had another one of those wine glasses in the backseat of his truck. And I saw the box, and I was like, so someone else gets a shark wine glass? And he looked at me and he goes, I had to buy him in bulk. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, don't get salty on me. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And he's like, please don't get salty. And so I was really hurt. I'm really not that important. But he tried to explain it to me like, well, the other one was just for like my roommate's like girlfriend because she likes wine too. La 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 la. Whatever. Okay, so I'm like, been too long. I need to get to the point here. So getting to the rest of the story. He left for Fort Rucker December 4th. So December 1st and December 2nd, he stayed at my house. He stayed the night with me. He played his accordion for me in my living room. And before he left, morning of December 2nd, because his plane was going to be leaving like 5 a.m. on December 4th. So he had to be at the he had to be at the airport at 5 a.m. kind of a thing. So his roommate was going to be taking him to the airport. So he stayed with me those 2 nights. And before he left, like, he brought me one of his shirts because I told him I had to have something that smelled like him that I could sleep in because I'm all sentimental and stuff. So as he's getting ready to leave, he's like, no tears, no tears. And I hugged him. I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. No, I'm not going to cry. And he's like, it's not goodbye, Rochelle. It's just till later. And I kissed him and set him out the door. And I'm like, I love you. He goes, I love you too. And he left. Went to Fort Rucker. We talked several times when he was in Fort Rucker. But while he's gone, all of a sudden, all these people in the singles group are telling me about how when he was in Wendover, he'd slept with this other girl. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And several guys were telling me, and I was like, well, maybe they're just like trying to get somewhere with me. And I confronted him, and he got really angry, really agitated, and was like, I'm not even there to defend myself. Like, this is bullshit. And so I kind of let it go. Like, okay, maybe these guys are just stretching the truth and they don't really know. But when the girls in the group started telling me, yeah, so I don't know what actually happened for sure in that room. But when we got back, they were both in the same bed in their underwear. Well, I don't know about you, but I've never been in a bed with someone in my underwear and not had something happen. So I confronted him again. And this was when he was on his way back to the States from Fort Rucker. Or back to Utah, I should say, from Fort Rucker. And then he was going to be here for a little bit, and then he was going to go to Afghanistan. So when he was on his way back here, I confronted him about it because we were on the phone for over an hour. And he was just like so excited to like get back to Utah, la 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 la. And I confronted him about it. And he says that they fooled around a little bit, but nothing, not that happened. And I was like, okay, either way, we had a commitment to each other. Maybe it wasn't a committed relationship, but we had a commitment. So you putting yourself in that situation is a complete betrayal to me. And he's like, you're right. It is, and I'm sorry. But also to tell you, I forgot to tell you this on one of our dates when we went to the Punch Bowl Social and we were bowling and having a blast, and this other cute couple was sitting across from us, and they find out like he's leaving, and the girl, they thought we were married. And the girl to me, she's like, how are you going to handle that? And I pulled out my favorite line from Step Brothers, and I was like, I'm just going to roll him in a ball and shove him in my vagina. Oh my God, they busted out laughing. We all busted out laughing, and it was hilarious. And, he got a gutter ball, and I'm like, crud. I can't remember. It was like, beautiful, Clark. Yeah, we were laughing. But anyway, she's like, yeah, they were so like, oh my God. But yeah, when we were there, he also informed me that, oh, by the way, when he went to Cambodia, yeah, he was there with a different girl. Yeah, you don't go to another country and not be intimate with the girl you go with. And he's like, well, that was before we were intimate. And I was like, no. That hotel room, that was before you left. I told him exactly what day. And he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah. So now that he's been gone for for a little while, he's been gone. I went on a date recently with someone else who knows him. And I told the guy on the date, I was like, I almost didn't pursue you or want to go on a date with you because I think you're friends with my ex. And I thought we were mutual friends, but then I saw he wasn't a mutual friend. So I don't know if you're actually his friend or not. And he's like, well, who was it? And I told him his name, and he's like, oh, him? Really? And he's like, oh, baby, I'm sorry. Baby, I'm sorry. And he's all kissing my forehead, telling me, yeah. He's like, no, we're friends. We're still friends. And he's like, and just so you know, you're not the only girl that is telling me these stories in the exact same time frames. He goes, I know several, and I mean several women that are telling me the same exact story as you. And there's one girl that didn't fall for it. And he was telling her like, oh, I hope you're okay while I'm gone. And she was like, whatever. So as he's telling me this, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? And he goes, I don't mean to hurt you, but he doesn't just dabble in the lifestyle. I think they had a pretty open marriage, and he's kind of like the ringleader. He's very good at what he does. Mother ever. So I realize I was just a pawn. I'm just another notch in the belt buckle. I don't know how many women, but I guess I'm one of many. And I'm telling you right now, Like, I have never been so, I can't even put it into words. I loved him with every ounce of my soul. I would have moved mountains for that man. And I was pretty sure that he cared almost as much for me. And he didn't. Because he does this for so many women. And I feel like such an ass. So, I guess the lesson learned here is when a man says he can't be in a committed relationship, run your ass off in the opposite direction. Because no matter how cute they are, no matter how much fun you have with them, no matter how much you think they care, you are literally just a pawn in their game. You're just one of many. And I refuse to be one of many for anyone ever again. No. So, hope you guys enjoyed one of my more painful stories, but there's a good lesson to be learned from that. And I'm sorry I took so much of your time. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you'll listen to more of my stories soon. And if you liked it, please subscribe,